Here's what happened, guys. A video is making its rounds in the digital landscape where a guy is looking really scared, trying to get his car out of park, but it's not moving. The reason is because AI is scanning his wide-eyed face and other biomarkers that show signs he might not be fit to drive, so it doesn't allow him to start his car that he owns. And this is a hypothetical scenario, but it's actually becoming a reality. You would think this is sci-fi, but there is a bill in our federal government that makes this a very real possibility starting next year and to bring it into reality. In the video, he continues to talk about certain patents that Toyota has filed. I haven't looked into that, so I can't confirm that. But in this scenario that he played out, for me looking at that, I'm like, that looks like sci-fi. But then diving more into this bill, it makes me curious. It gets me to be curious and ask more and more questions because things just don't make sense. And we've talked about what this, we have to talk about what this means for the path we're headed on for the future, and how small businesses can learn from the reactions that we're seeing in our society about this. We have to make sure that freedom and self-sovereignty are in our country's future. Welcome back to the RD Week Show. Happy Tuesday, guys. So I want to talk about first the bill that this is in. And it's a provision within a bigger bill. The bill is the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which is, by the way, over 1,000 pages, that was passed in 2021. And when you learn more about politics, and it's very important, I said it before, you may not care about politics as a small business owner, but it's important first, you may not care about it, but politics cares about you. And it's important for you to be aware of what is going on. That is how we help to make sure that we avoid more control into the future, more surveillance in the future, and make sure that we are preserving our individual rights here in our country that we cannot take for granted, like our freedom of speech, like the ability to own our small business in this economic system. Because light is one of the best disinfectants when it comes to truly evil motives, destructive motives that really hurt the American people. And as small business owners, I believe that small business owners are America's future leaders. And it may not be fair to have to learn all these different parts, but it's important to remember that theology, the politics, the economy, and culture are all interconnected in shaping the future. And the more we can understand the basics in these different areas, at worst, you're going to be a better overall decision maker for your business and for your life. At best, you will be unstoppable as a small business owner. So the actual act that I talked about that passed in 2021, it's over 1,000 pages. But then there's this very small provision, very small, section 24220 that you can look up called the Advanced Impaired Driving Technology, which is around 2 pages in this whole thing that lays out this potential future where AI could come in, or a form of technology which is looking more probable as it's going to be AI with cameras and sensors to be able to determine if you're fit to drive in a vehicle that you own. Not to mention and again, this is related to drunk driving, but like, especially for me, I don't drink. And so do I still have to have this in my car? Well, from this, how this is set up for the provision, it is absolutely a yes for that. And this is where things don't make sense. We got to be curious. We got to ask questions here. And there is a term going around online, and people are talking about it, called the automobile kill switch. And so that, if you hear that, this is what it connects to. So in that provision, there were deadlines that are set up in order to create a mandate for these car manufacturers to have the technology to be able to put into new vehicles. And how it's set up now is starting in 2027. Now, there still needs to be a lot of what seems like a lot of progress to be made to make this a reality, but it still should be very concerning that this is even passed. For being something that is going to happen into the future at some point. And this is where we have to push back against this type of feature. This type of feature where we can go into more and more surveillance, where our privacy, and we've talked about it before, our privacy and Fourth Amendment can be eroded. And we as Americans have to wake up to what is going on here and not just go through and sign up for different accounts without taking the time to actually look at the terms and services, we've got to take the time to be able to understand what we're actually signing up for. What are we giving up? Because I've said before, convenience and freedom, they're incompatible at a certain level. And with our privacy as well, this is where I talked about it yesterday with consumer data, how because we're unaware, this is where certain industries, and the over 1,000 industries that we have in our country here, can thrive. And they can thrive in secrecy, in the dark. And that's where light is the best disinfectant. One of which for the industry is when it comes to the data broker industry, that's valued around $300 billion. Where it's transactions of your consumer or the trading of your consumer data information. So so again, we have to ask questions about privacy here, and can see how this takes away our freedom, especially if we're someone that doesn't drink anymore, like myself. Since 2018, I haven't drank, and that was something I dealt with early on. I started off my first business as a DJ. I was very undisciplined, partied a lot in the week, went out a lot of nights, and eventually got to a point in 2018 where I just said enough's enough. It was after New Year's Eve, went out, partied hard, and I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this. And ever since, I haven't drank. And so I'm like, why? Well, this is definitely pushing against all of our privacy, but then also our freedom and self-sovereignty here, especially with something that we own in our vehicle. So again, where things don't make sense, it's important to be curious and ask questions, but it gets into the bigger picture here of, okay, what's going on in our society, right? What's happening? Because we are experiencing massive change right now. We're in it. And what I want to share with you first is what's been going on with trying to get rid of this provision. And I'm going to actually share my screen here. I'm going to go to a post here from Congressman Thomas Massey, who shares this point. So this is really happening here. The automobile kill switches are coming soon to car dealerships near you. I teamed up with Scott Perry and Chip Roy to defund this Orwellian mandate, but too many colleagues, Republican and Democrat, voted against us. So the federal mandate for every new car after 2026 is still in place. So there is a big push in momentum to try to get rid of this provision. It's important for you to have conversations with your elected officials and to be aware of what is going on, because it can affect our everyday life. It's important to make sure that our environment, we have an environment set up for freedom and self-sovereignty moving forward into our future, so that we can make America's future a small business renaissance. I think of that. Those two, freedom and self-sovereignty, they're two really powerful traits that small business owners, whether you realize it or not, you have. Because you're deciding to want to take on that responsibility and go out there and achieve the American dream with going from just do the best that you can with the resources you have to trying to want to improve your quality of life. And that is something I truly respect, and it's having faith going into the unknown. And then the freedom to decide how you're going to live your life, our God-given will, to go out there and chart our path. And coming back to my faith in Christianity, realizing too that God plays a hand in that, and comes down and helps to guide our path moving forward. But we also have our own free will as in that process. So the act to be aware of, there's one act that was introduced back in 2025, the No Kill Switches in Cars Act. But that right now is stalled at the moment. But we got to continue to have these conversations, hold our elected officials accountable. But when it comes to privacy, it's important as small business owners to realize that we can lead the way for an alternative future, a future where we make privacy the focus in our marketing, being able to express to the people that you're serving through your products and services that you care about their privacy. Make sure that you are doing your due diligence with the third parties that you're working with for your systems, and taking care of genuinely caring about the people that you're serving. and really showing that through with the marketing. And there's an opportunity here to show an alternative future where we put freedom as a focus and self-sovereignty as a focus, where we're not relying so much on the government. And to be able to have this small business renaissance, it's important as small business owners, we realize that it's not going to be fair, but we got to step up here and clean up a lot of the big messes that we're experiencing in our country. One of which is our national debt over $39 trillion and how we have a depression crisis. Gen Z is the most in-debt generation for the age group in the history of the U.S. There are a lot of big messes we got to clean up, and privacy is becoming a bigger barrier of focus with more talk about AI. And we're now at a point where we cannot just be unaware of what data we're giving up, and then as small business owners, what data that we have to steward and make sure that it is protected, if that's from other third party platforms. And it's becoming louder in our country and our society. And so this is an opportunity to make sure that we are human first rather than AI first. And that goes back to communication. How we're communicating with the people that we're serving through our products and services. Make sure it's a human, not just automated email sequences. It is the American people overall, we are becoming a lot smarter. And I've said it before, there's this important worldview to have, which is the powerful and the rest of us. And right now, a lot more of us are waking up to what's going on. And with this movement, it gets me really excited for the future with the conversations I've had with small business owners who believe in the importance of preserving our freedom. This country is the greatest country in the history of the world. When it comes to our individual rights, it is so incredible, the gifts that we've been given in this country, like our freedom of speech, to be able to talk about our government without this fear of the government coming in and taking us from our homes. The ability to be able to own our small business, to want to improve our quality of life, and not just stay in our certain classes, but have the opportunity to, through merit, hard work, and effort, and discipline, being able to create a better quality of life for our future generations, our future kids or grandkids, and even our own lives. And moving forward with these conversations I've had, it gets me really excited for this future where success looks like we're able to walk our greatest cities in our country and feel safe at night walking alone, where we don't have to lock our doors at night, where we have a high trust in our society. But it's important to have economic opportunities to make that happen. And this is where it's keeping a circular, consumer-driven economy, where we're keeping it within our local communities, supporting small businesses where we can, so that it can stay, the resources can stay in the communities, local communities, and towns and cities across the country. And then from there, being able to show that you absolutely have an opportunity here to achieve the American dream. It is something we have to remind ourselves, remind our kids, remind our grandkids that this is absolutely possible. So privacy, this is now at the forefront of the conversation. And as small business owners, we cannot ignore it. We have to recognize that times are changing, and certain ways, systems that you've had, you may have to now look at and change your ways because the truth is going to come out. And it's important to speak the truth and to share the truth of your systems, the information that you're gathering, being clear and transparent with the people that you are serving through your products and services, because they will be asking at some point, and it will get louder and louder and louder in our country. So if you are a small business owner who wants to connect with other small business owners in shaping the future, and you want to connect in person, then you can join us for A Future Fest. This is where you can register at afuturefest.com. It is happening in Charleston, South Carolina on January 14th and 15th, 2027. The plan is to have over 300 small business owners across the country, across industries coming together, and we get different perspectives from different industries. You start to notice similar patterns, which can better prepare you for the chaotic future, because we have a lot of chaos that we're experiencing now and that we're experiencing that we're going to experience in the future. And so it can help to create stability, not just in the business, but then in your life to handle that chaos. And then being able to create new innovative ideas moving forward in your industry and bring that back and become more of a leader in your industry. So excited for that coming up next year. And then I will see you guys tomorrow.